Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. A new mining precinct will soon be launched. There is fuel cell frenzy, and a 6-point plan could help the mining industry. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer unpacks the headlines. Welcome, Martin.
Hi, Seshni.
Now, the new Mandela mining precinct will soon be open in Johannesburg. Tell us about it.
Yes, it opens on Friday, and it is a fantastic occasion because we haven't had proper research and development in South Africa now for 20 years. This is actually going to take place at Carlo Road, which is significant because that used to be the site of the old Chamber of Mines Research Organisation. At one stage, I used to go there was 600 researchers there, and it was fantastic what we did for the world of mining. And those researchers are now scattered around the world. The issue now is to rebuild. And if you go there now, you'll see 70 people, or there are about 70 people linked to it. And it's got a much better structure. It's like the hub is going to be the Mandela Mining Precinct. And a great name, particularly in the centenary year. And they will also be using, as a start, 3 universities, the 3 mining universities of Wits University, Pretoria University and Johannesburg University, and they will have like a hub and spoke approach where they need something done. The universities will get in there and do it, bring it back. They'll also do their own research, a nice combined effort. But it goes beyond that, because they're looking at the entire supply chain. So it's not just a research without development, because you will see that the equipment that's needed and the services that needed, they will be clearly outlined. And they can begin developing those as we speak. And that will be great for South Africa. It's called MEMSA, it's the manufacturing arm of that. And it'll mean that once you get a research and development that points to a actual manufactured solution, that will take place. That could put us ahead in the world, because if we crack the code here, a lot of the mines are going deep. We're very deep now. We're at 4 kilometers, and none of them are near that at the moment. I mean, you can see some of the different summits that are taking place and conferences. They're talking about much shallower mines in the world. But we've got 3 big issues. The one is the hardness of our rock. Now, nobody else has got rock hardness like this. It's like 220 megapascals. We've got the narrowest of reefs. Nobody else has got that. Sometimes they're as high as this table in front of us, and you've got to get under there. And we've got the depth. So those 3 things have got to be dealt with. It'll possibly put us in an industry point forward. It'll give us that 4th industrial revolution head start if we can actually do this using a lot of modern technology, which I'm sure they'll do. So the reward is great, but at the moment, the risk of failure can also be there, because how do you crack this nut? People have been trying to do it for a long time, but I think there are new technologies available now. People are thinking differently. Some of them are talking about swarms of little robots going under there to actually get to those low reefs, and they will just mine the ore body, so it'll just be the pay area, the gold or the platinum, and we can see that they are worried about gold and platinum. That is their number 1 target. They see that as what they call the burning bridge. And you've got to put out the fire on that, and that'll be an urgent short-term effort that will indicate how effective they are. So that's a big challenge, because they've got the short-term, the medium-term, long-term. In the long-term, they must obviously create some system that can mine very efficiently round the clock. These wonderful ore bodies we've still got here, some of them at great depth in the Potch Gap and in the Bothaville Gap, haven't even been touched because they're so deep. So that's all virgin territory that can still be got to if you've got the right technology.
Now, fuel cells have also been in the headlines, with cars and power plants at the forefront.
Yeah, I'm very happy about the frenzy around the fuel cells, because the fuel cell, I think, doesn't carry any environmental baggage. And if it can be linked to electricity generation by the sun and the wind, can you imagine? You've got no baggage at all. At the moment with our electric cars that they're talking about, you still plug into the wall, and in South African terms, you're still burning coal, to get that electricity. It will help the urban areas, obviously, but on the big planetal, the planet situation, it isn't a proper advance. Whereas if you go into fuel cells, as we can see, these car manufacturers in Korea, Japan, they're moving all the time. With the Hyundai, we saw that the pre-orders were considerable. I think there were over 1,000 pre-orders, people clamoring to get the car as it came out. And the cars themselves, they've got these ranges that are like a normal petrol or diesel driven car. There's no restriction on that. But the big thing is that they're using these fuel cells, which have got no moving parts, low noise, don't pollute.
Yeah.
But another big thing is they're exothermic, which the ordinary electric vehicle can't compete with. Now, if you're in the northern hemisphere with those cold temperatures, sometimes you're going along the freeways there and you think, I'm freezing here. So you turn on the heat and suddenly you pull to the side because it's drained your battery. Yeah. Whereas the fuel cell gives off heat. So that's another big bonus. So hopefully, you can see in California, they sold on this. You can see in South Korea, they look sold on it. In China, we see they very much for big trucks coming into Beijing. They're using that. And Japan has always loved this thing. And so you've not only got the mobile, but you've got the stationary. We can see that there are certain power plants now that are fuel cell driven. The one we're trying to get out at Springs, the Impala Platinum, similar to that, they're looking at a special investment zone, where a special economic zone where people come in, start making some of these fuel cell parts. It would be great for South Africa. They give us a head start. But we have fallen behind because we've been talking about this since the 80s. And I think other people or other issues got in the way, particularly of the platinum miners. Now they're starting to emphasize this again. But all of a sudden, the electric vehicle. We want the fuel cell electric vehicle. That is the FCEV, what is being promoted heavily, and they're asking the government to promote it now in South Africa, is the electric vehicle, the EV. But that requires cobalt. And I don't know whether you saw CNN last night, but wow, what a heartbreaking coverage of children, child labor, right in the middle of the Congo there. And when their cameras came, the kids had obviously been warned by the adults, drop your pack, stop, make sure you get out the way. Don't let them see you because they're going to report that there's child labor here and we won't be able to sell. It was heartbreaking. So, and that's what the baggage now that the EV is carrying. Modern day slavery, child labor, forced labor, people profiteering beyond belief, and that's what they're going to have to live with if they try and push that EV. Whereas if we push the FCEV, there's no modern day slavery, there's beautiful conditions, particularly if you look at some of the new mines coming through, the marvelous communities benefit in a very positive way. If you take your EV, remember, it's like blood diamonds, you've got blood cobalt in your car.
Yep. Now, moving on to improving the industry, 2 independent consultants have drawn up a 6-point plan for Ramaphosa.
Yes.
Tell us about this.
And that, Dr. John Bristow and Dan Moahi put their heads together and decided to present to the government what we should be looking at now in this part of South Africa, how you can revive this mining industry and modernize this mining industry, and also take into account the new emerging miners coming through, because a lot of emphasis is on the Chamber of Mines and their interaction with the government. Obviously their lobbying skills are huge, their preparation to interface with the government has gone through decades. They know how to do it, whereas these junior miners coming up need more of a profile. And that is why Dr. John Bristow and Dan Moahi have pushed this profile up, and we're hoping that they will present to Parliament soon, because it looks like Parliament has taken a bit of interest in this, because they came through with these 6 points and basically summarized is, look, get the smaller miners going, create real black ownership, not part-time black ownership. Make sure they're right in there. Get to the geoscience and make sure they help the explorers, because that's where it all starts. And if we don't have that exploration, the big mines that are now interfacing quite eyeball to eyeball with the government, they will have dug their holes. They will have reached the point where there's nothing left. So unless you get that exploration going through, your industry is going to really slow down and possibly go over a cliff, as they're warning at the Mandela mining precinct, that if you carry on the way you are, in mid-2020s, you go down the cliff. And so particularly for gold. So, but if you come in now with a way of incentivizing, a clever way of incentivizing, which is one of those 6 points, you can really get things moving, because there are a lot of people with that sort of mental attitude that can do this. We know that we haven't been great on exploration, but there are hubs here that have started thinking along those lines, junior mining lines, and the Chamber of Mines would do well. They have got a bit of a section now for juniors to really expand that, because that would help. It would give it a structure right away, and the same people talking to the government could also talk about the junior mining space. I think that would be the best way to go. And I note they have got an incipient activity there, so perhaps they can just bring these people who are talking now in and create this new space where we can get the best of two worlds. You get the big guys also talking on behalf of the little guys. You get genuine black ownership. You'll get an incentivization like they do in Canada and Australia to get those mines going. You can link it to listings on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange where people get tax credits for investing like they do in Canada, and it works like a charm.
Thanks for speaking with us, Mark.
It's a great pleasure, Sashni.
That's it for today. Join us again next week for more news analysis on South Africa's mining industry.